So you see that light pole? There's one light shining bright, and as far as it coming to the truth, becoming reacquainted with what's going on, trying to solve and protect everyone, that part of being a light becomes a pillar of light. As far as that saying comes from, the light in the dark, and it was praised differently. But when I kept saying I was the pillar of light, people were like, "What is he making up? What does he mean?" Because things weren't taught or explained well for so long. The part of everyone shining, doing regular stuff, but it's daytime and no one can see that light on, is the part where a lot of archangels and, seem like fallen angels, but angels don't kill. So they work together, they keep their lights low from shining, showing their stars. But a lot of us over time, children of a God, being, the earlier classes of, having it all before it went to the lowest part of almost depleting us and our life energy. We're, in the higher heavens, as it's called, and being both, being the creator on the male side, being attached to the mother that's on the highest part, being with that father, as well as in vessel. It's a fusion past hybrid stages. You're not going to add just water and strawberry flavor. You have to add the natural fruit, the false one, just to make sure the immunity gets used to both, plus the water, which gives life, as well as more investigation of like mixology. So it gets to the last part where things of science and whatnot finally have a success or a failure. Either fail and try again, or just close it and not pick it back up. But when it comes to being the last one, the last dragon, last samurai, the last protector, everybody can wake up and become that again. But being the last one, being a light like that light pole, and everything around me was dark, that's where evil starts to surround me in those times where I'm just trying to teach myself or preach to the world. And, in their way of trying to hide it, as far as, manipulate that they're the actual person instead of having the person be the host with the vessel. They'd be like, he's crazy. I'm concerned about him. Oh, he needs to get locked up. Oh, what's wrong with him? It was that evil negativity that I guess you could say, because of how terms changed. The antichrists were all around me. And so, with that being said, I'm not only a shaman or a medicine man, or, as they call, like, a wizard. You know what I mean? I'm not just a chief, in which they started only calling kings instead of using the word chief. Not only a king or a chief, but I'm also a villager. I'm also here on earth, being reborn, as far as saying everybody can become successful and become a god just like how I want them to be, being my children, but also in vessel. I'm having to deal with the commitment of using first person, second person, third person, just like it's a third dimension universe. So I'm the Father, I'm the Spirit, I'm the Ghost, I'm the Son. I am the Spirit of Victory, or, Family Victorious. I am also Spirit of Hope, hoping that we don't all perish and, continuance of life and creating life doesn't come to an end. That's the part that, even though it's after 10, I'm whispering. And many times I've paid attention to how evil lurks and sounds the alarms for others. Where in my normal years, before this ascending part, nobody would hear me if I was singing a song low or listening to my music, even with the volume loud. But in these cases where it gets to that part of an ending, no more needing Genesis unless that ending was unsuccessful. Now it's at that time where I'm not hearing the voices upset. People are actually not hearing me as much, because being the first of creation, being man with the woman that created all the tribes, we only were able to transform when there was evil. So again, another parallel universe. When the chief was getting attacked by the vampires in the Twilight movie, the little part where Bella's getting told the story, the wife sacrificed herself. That was true history as far as God and his wife. She's known as the fallen angel. Then the transformation of more villagers having become part of the pack because more Indians were coming in, or vampires were, entering, trespassing, native lands and stuff. So with me having so many of my godly abilities, it was only because of it getting so serious that transformation had to begin early. I am a blessed child, for yet the memories of both of them and everyone since then have hit me, and they did not scar me. They just made me stronger, and it gave me a reason because I've always liked to serve and be proud that I was that fast to jump when people were happy, when they were thankful. So that natural part from the father to the son spiritually is in me, and it's been waking up as far as uh, biologically. My father, being less possessed and being happy and being more like a sibling than an evil father that wished he never had me. I mean, people have been cursed, and I've lived everyone's life. So you read this book or that book, whether I was precious or whether I was a kid named it, no matter what, it's like I'm trying to teach everyone how the brain works, how the father and mother's always with the son and daughters, and how you get chosen to become the successors. It doesn't have to be one. It just needs to be everyone together in order for everyone to graduate and ascend at the same time. Because we already did in one universe. Another universe, we died over and over. Another universe, complications galore as far as quantum thinking and way past those limits. But if you beat something once, no matter what, there's still that one that equals all of them. So instead of having 99 failures and one victory, you still got to get back to everything of design, memory, the whole part of damaged or danger, the fear, just out of nowhere rattles and coils. You know what I mean? You got to make sure that you figure out everything that was bundled and knotted. And sometimes it's just the way that everybody's taught. So when you get that corrected, you no longer have to worry about being one light like a candle that's about to lose its flame in the dark because something blew some wind at it. I am now shining super bright with some powers that may go away as long as people get along and they don't try to assassinate me or, knock me unconscious and then, take blood because that alley is already closed off. No more in and out as far as secret fucking tunnels or whatever. Excuse my language. Everything that they tried to do as far as manipulate, leave and come back. No more clones. No more molecules separated in order to have hiding spots where it looks just like here somewhere else, and nobody ever gets to notice that they get taken from the real world and they get taken to Neverland. It's only one Earth, and it should actually be in two as far as mine and hers, but they are not ready to meet. So all the ones that were working together for a long time was evil from the future as well as reaching the past, and that's what created temptation and sinners and people to, feel obligated to turn against God or try to destroy God or feel like there is no God, so let's just be evil and rulers and, take what we want. There's still lots of good in people, and I know with that, much more greatness can grow in them, whether it's around them that helps grow to show, or it's actually that little bit of light that finally starts shining bright instead of actually getting forever turned off. Remember, the mother is the tree of life. I was her protector, being that circle, because I was infinite to come back no matter how many times they took me out. A wall that rebuilds itself is perfect for the kingdom to always protect the queen. So, in eternal life, not being killed before it was able to, genetically, spiritually, and physically manifest to actually bridge, not just in a relationship or commitment, but actual statue of life and the powers that each one has. That eternal life is no longer, a enchantress, scarlet witch, but she is eternal. All right, how do you say? Sorry, my part. Me being male, I used to be just only male and coming back, so that was the mortal being infinite. The infinite mortal is constantly coming back. Now her and I have that power of she's eternal and infinite, and I'm just getting used to now being eternal and infinite, as well as the seed that I carry. And I'm trying to bridge that with different ways to, not even need to give birth, even though I want to one day with a wife, you know, but also the children way before that birth deserve to have the same immunity, same everything, as long as they apologize if they're sinner, if they sinned, they're victimized and innocent still. They in their hearts they know that they're just thankful, so they keep to the prayers. They don't need to show the part of submission, embarrassment, or shame. But I tell my story as the exact same way that I found that I was the actual creator, because in your children you live in them, so you find yourself, depending if all of them are living bad and only one or two feel bad and they wish they had protection from the almighty. It's like all of you are supposed to be exactly the same of being that powerful, but that's where you're good to your neighbor. So you're always that powerful, and it's like martial arts only to be prepared but never have to use it. So that's kind of the secret, mission and purpose and value in life. Nobody should have to have, uh, handicaps and illnesses and formalities, and like we could fix that, but it takes all in order for that magic to constantly have a strong current for that change. To really do it that fast to make a miracle, you can't have any gaps of energy flow. You can't have, a leak in the pipes, gas or water spilling from the water hose and not getting to the whole garden. You need everything that gives life. So, with the Almighty being Him and her, me with my wife, as far as, you know, lineage, we've already faced death many times. Had to go back and forth because with her being eternal, she would pop on both sides, either or. With me being infinite, I would just always come back here and never be on the other side. So now we bridge that part. It's up to all of you, my children, and the plants, and rock, and sand, and ashes, and dust, stardust, everything is living, and it already has been waiting for me. The only ones that are waiting to either, no longer be splitting up is your energy, your happiness, the whole seed that was planted, whether it's your vessel, your mind, or spirit. It's that soul that actually comes from all three once it resonates, and it actually makes me proud to say that you did a great job growing up even when I wasn't there. So good night, everybody. God bless you, and remember who Victorio Azhocar is, because that is one strong rising sun.